Welcome to The Other Side, Mississippi Today's political podcast. I'm Jeff Pender, joined here today with my colleague, Taylor Vance. Taylor, hello.
Hey, Jeff.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Great. We have a couple of announcements, I guess you would say, or got a special guest today. But first off, I'd like to introduce our newest reporter at Mississippi Today, Katie Lynn.
Hi, Jeff.
Hey, Katie. Thank you for coming on the show. And Katie is going to be on our politics and government team. She is going to be focused on economic development and business issues. Katie, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm originally from the San Francisco Bay Area, and then I worked for 4 years in biotech and doing portfolio analytics and project management. And now I'm here through Report for America.
Just the typical pathway into journalism, right?
Yes.
Anyway, we're really, really glad to have you, and welcome to Mississippi, and welcome to Mississippi Today.
I'm very excited to be here.
Great. And we have a guest today, no stranger to the show. I think not too long ago you were on. But you held back on a big announcement. You a few weeks after your last visit here made a major announcement. This is Agriculture and Commerce Commissioner Andy Gipson, and also the first person, I do believe, to officially enter the race for governor for 2027.
Yeah, that's right. And, I guess when I did my last interview with y'all, I did it by Zoom. And the truth is I was still praying about it. And only on June the 11th, 2025, did it really I got the full sense that this was something that I needed to do and do it now. And It was not a matter that, I could, strategize or plan out. I'd probably a little unconventional. I am an unconventional politician. I hope I never become a politician, actually. But I do things a little differently than the regular, I guess, politico crowd, country club crowd. And I prayed over this for 2 years, Jeff. And finally, I went off, got by myself with the good Lord up on the mountain and prayed in Montana, where my son is working. And over a course of days, it became clear to me this was something that I needed to do. And the Lord said, do it and do it now. And that's why I announced that I am running. I will be a candidate for governor in 2027.
And you didn't do the typical, I'm thinking about it, I might run, I haven't ruled it out. You're in it to win it, right?
I'm in it. I am in it. Look, 2 more years. I've got the wonderful privilege to serve as Agriculture and Commerce Commissioner, a little more than 2 years now, and we're going to do the very best that we can do. We got things headed the right direction at the Ag Department. We're going to continue doing that work, promoting our products, helping our farmers where we can, and of course, doing the job that I'm elected to do. But I'm absolutely 100% certain I am running. In fact, I'm running for governor, and I'll even have signs at the Neshoba County Fair, July the 30th, when I speak at 10:20 a.m. on July the 30th.
Okay.
Commissioner, I guess the natural next question is, why do you want to be governor? What other than, you said you feel that, after prayer, that you're called to run, but why do you want to be governor?
I'll tell you why. I have traveled the state, all 82 counties, many, many times, and visited with people all over Mississippi. And if I tell you one person has asked me to do it, I'll say 30,000 people have asked me to run for governor. And I think the response to my announcement has borne that out. But the reason I'm running is not by popular demand. It's because there are things that need attention in our state as I look to the future. And I have 5 things in particular that I know that need attention, and I'm going to share those with you here today. But I do know this: the people of Mississippi want a conservative governor. They want a conservative leader. And I respectfully and humbly submit I am a proven conservative leader. I don't think anybody can dispute that fact with executive experience. And the things that I have seen and I hear about that need attention, I'll share them. If you want to call it a platform, these are the first 5 planks of my platform. I'll go over them whenever y'all want to. You want to do that now?
Sure.
Okay, good. So as I have traveled the state and listened to people, one of the things that I hear in our local communities, and I see it, and we see it on the news, is a pretty steep rise in the infiltration of our towns and cities and criminal element. They're coming from New Orleans. They're coming from Memphis. They're coming from Mobile and other metropolitan areas. And I've talked to people from Brookhaven to Macomb to Vicksburg and Meridian. Of course, the city of Jackson has its issues, which I'm very familiar with, having run the fairgrounds here for almost 10 years. But across the state, in South Mississippi and North Mississippi, there is a growing sense among our peaceful towns and cities that there's a criminal element that is coming in here. Hattiesburg, I mean, that's one that over the weekend just had some tragedies, wild people acting wild, crazy. And I believe that the very first plank of my platform, and perhaps the most important, is going to be a matter of public safety. Because if people don't feel safe, nothing else matters. If folks don't feel safe, you're not going to have economic development. I'm going to talk about economic development in a moment. I want to, on day one, I will, when elected governor, form a public safety task force composed of state law enforcement. That is, of course, includes the Highway Patrol, other state agencies, working with our police chiefs, working with our sheriffs, not taking their jobs, but working with them to provide support to bring back law and order in some of these areas, what I call crime-ridden areas. And actually, that's what I've done at the fairgrounds for the last 8 years. We have battled time after time, gangs and different folks coming in here. Just a lot of times, just kids who hadn't been taught any better. They're acting bad because they don't know any better. And we have established a public safety task force to control and maintain order within the fairgrounds. I've had people in Jackson ask me, "Can I come over and help them in West Jackson?" I cannot. I do not have that authority. But when I'm governor, I will, and we'll bring back public safety in these crime-ridden areas at the request of the local cities and counties and communities, not willy-nilly, not just decide we're going to go here. No, when towns and cities ask for requests, we're going to work with them to make that happen. So that public safety is a big one. Economic development is, of course, the second. And we have a good thing going in Mississippi. We see a lot of jobs coming in here. I give kudos to the governor. I give kudos to Bill Cork, the economic development that we've seen. And it's built upon good policies from the legislature over the last many years. I served in the legislature for a number of years, as you know. And economic development is something we're going to have to continue to maintain and to grow and to get better and more deals done for the people of Mississippi. What most people don't know about me, and that's okay that they don't know, but they need to know that I have experience in getting deals done. Actually, I made a good living for 20 years in a business world as a business deal attorney. I'm not a courtroom lawyer. I'm not a litigator. Not a trial lawyer. I made a good living for a number of years putting business deals together for private companies. In fact, I handled the largest 2 capital raise transactions in the history of the state of Mississippi, back to back, for a company on the Gulf Coast. Happened to be a bank, and it has expanded its footprint. It has grown. It has more jobs today than ever. And I can bring those skills to bear as a negotiator, as a deal maker on behalf of the people of Mississippi. I've used that ability as the Commissioner of Agriculture, putting deals together. That's how we've gotten more sponsors for the Dixie National Rodeo, and how now we're broadcasting worldwide on the Cowboy Channel and on the RFD TV for all the fans that are watching out there for RFD TV. Putting deals together, getting private sector folks together around the table. What do we need to do? And also working with our legislature to get those deals done. I envision meeting with the speaker, with the lieutenant governor, whoever that may be, and sitting around a table just like this. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? Here's what I'd like to do. Let's get it done. And let's focus on these things. We can fight over the rest, but we get these things done, these good things for the people of Mississippi, and move on. Economic development. And that includes agriculture, our largest industry. Agriculture has always been Mississippi's #1 industry. I don't think an agriculture commissioner has ever run for governor in Mississippi. Check me out. Check the history on that. This may be a first. But I know this, that the agricultural sector, our farmers are hurting worse now than they ever have. They're hurting bad due to a lot of different factors, the high inflation, the high interest rates, the Cold War we had with China in trade that has really dampened markets across the globe. And we need to focus on agriculture and diversify our agricultural industry. I will be making a major announcement about that at the Neshoba County Fair. The third plank that I have is infrastructure, because with economic development, we have to think about infrastructure. I know something about infrastructure because my first job off the farm was building houses. I know how to build a house from the ground up and put a roof on it. I'll never put another roof on another house as long as I live. But
I've done that once myself.
But I've used those skills in repairing where we have funds to do so. The fairgrounds, we've drilled our own water well on the fairgrounds. We have provided water in times of disaster. The COVID crisis, the water crisis, the Jackson. We served as the staging ground there. But infrastructure is something that we really got to focus on. And when I say that, there are three areas that I think bear tremendous focus. Number one, this may surprise you, is water. Water is our most precious asset. You may think it's something else, but I'm telling you it's water. Because I've attended conferences as ag commissioner around this country, around the world, and there are people who would wish they would give their right arm if they could have the water resources that we have here in Mississippi. California was the powerhouse producer of our produce and food products for many, many years. That production is going down now precipitously because of water, lack of water resources, lack of available water. The Midwest is drying up. My brother lives in Texas. The aquifers there are dried up. They've not been replenished. And they are now looking at a situation where their farms may have to go idle because of a lack of water. And if you doubt me, you can look up the research of a company called CoBank. CoBank is the world's largest financial services provider for agriculture and the farm industry. And their prediction is that over the next 20 years, the southeastern United States will be the water supply and therefore the food supply capital of the United States. And we better be doing some things today to make sure that our aquifers don't dry up and go away, that we preserve and maintain our abundant, available, above ground reservoirs, water supply. And we have 52 inches of rain on average a year. We are blessed in so many areas of water, but we have to be strategic, and I will adopt a strategic plan to conserve our water and to use it wisely for the benefit of Mississippi going forward and for the benefit of the country. When you consider that this part of the country will be the breadbasket of the United States food supply, that's the most important thing that we have to think about. Energy is the second one. With all the infrastructure of the Amazons and all the other data centers that are coming, they are large consumers of water and of electricity. And I'm telling you, we better get ahead of this. We're not ahead of it now. I know the governor's got some great plans, and the energy utilities are working on plans for expansion. But the more economic development we have that demands that type of electricity, we're going to have to really step up our game in terms of all the above energy, high capacity energy infrastructure in the state of Mississippi. And the third one is transportation. This most recent session had some emphasis on the needs of transportation, roads and bridges, but it's not enough. The fact is, as I travel the country, and I just went to Tennessee for a conference. I drive, when I can to different places, and we're falling behind on our transportation infrastructure, roads and bridges. And we got to be strategic about those three areas. We need more bridges, stronger bridges, better roads. And when I say transportation, I want to include in that something that we're working on now, and that is ports and harbors. Mississippi is surrounded on three sides by water and ports, from Mississippi River, the Gulf Coast, and the Tenn-Tom Waterway. We have a huge opportunity to expand that infrastructure as we become the food supply hub for the country. The distribution needs will be greater than ever before, and we can have that opportunity. I'm probably going too long, but that's my third plank. I'm nailing it down. 1, 2, 3. Number 4, government efficiency. I'm a big supporter of eliminating the income tax. I always have voted for it when I was in the House. I'm against raising taxes, by the way. House Bill 1 that has passed is a good step in eliminating income tax. But my fourth platform plank is government efficiency, putting it in plain Mississippi English, doing more with less. The state of Mississippi will have to do more with less as we look to the next decade. We're going to have less revenue. When you eliminate the income tax, that's good. I'm glad. We need to be very cognizant of that. And we're going to have to find ways to make government more efficient and smaller in some cases. And with the federal cuts now coming out of D.C. that have been happening and that are coming through the one big, beautiful bill, even more so, we're going to have to do more with less. And I may be the only person in Mississippi that has the actual experience of doing that. Because when COVID hit, all of the fairgrounds events were 100% special funds. The fairgrounds pays for itself based on events that it has. Everything canceled. And they called me and said, Commissioner, the fairgrounds is going to run out of money on August or something of 2020. So I called the legislature. I called the lieutenant governor, as a matter of fact, Delbert Hoseman. This is an issue. We can rescue the fairgrounds, but it's going to take consolidation. Consolidate the old Fair Commission into and under the Department of Ag. We did that successfully, and that's why it's operating better and why we've been able to make the improvements we made. We found efficiencies. We eliminated duplicative government functions. And we also did the same thing with the Farmers Market, the Central Market Board. We've consolidated 3 agencies into one, doing more with less. We're going to have to do that in a big kind of way across the state as we look to the future. And I'm the man who can lead on that front. Number 5, my last plank, I'm going to nail it down. Freedom. Freedom on all fronts. There's no reason in the world Mississippians don't have the same freedom that other folks have around this country when it comes to their health insurance, for example, for hospital care, for health care, for schools, for school choice. No reason in the world why the people of Mississippi have less freedom than the people of Tennessee or the people of Alabama or Louisiana. There are ways that we can expand our freedom, and I want to be a leader on that front. I have stood for freedom on a lot of different fronts. Second Amendment, religious freedom, First Amendment freedom. I have stood and fought and won those battles, and there are battles we're going to have to fight for the freedom of the future of Mississippi. And those are my 5 main planks. Those are things that I look down, 5, 10 years, even longer than that down the road. And I see that we need some attention on that. A side note, AI, and I don't mean the agricultural AI. Nobody's stopping AI. It is coming. It is here. It is changing our world. And we're going to have to make some significant focus on how we do that in a way that is not going to leave 20% of our workforce without a job. I'm glad the legislature has an AI task force. I talked with Gerard Gilbert about this the other day. I think they're having their meeting coming up. I hope to go to those meetings and listen and learn. That is my philosophy, listen, learn, and lead. But I know that AI is here, it's coming, and it is as many benefits as it has. There are also risks. There are ethical concerns that we have to get a handle on. And one of those concerns is it has the potential, I think Elon Musk has even said, to displace so many people's jobs. So we have all this economic development growth. That's great. What about the folks who we don't want to get left behind, whose jobs are going to be replaced with AI? That's something I'm thinking about. I have to learn a lot more about that, but it's something I think on the horizon that we have to tackle for the days ahead. Well, so that's a long answer.
That's what I was going to say. That's a lot to kind of parse through.
Yeah.
But I would say, you said that, you are in favor of reducing taxes, cutting taxes. You support the legislature's latest effort to eliminate the income tax. I think I've heard you say you support reducing the grocery tax. I know which the legislature also did. That being said, you want to make some improvements to infrastructure. I think no one disputes that gas mileage is getting better. We have more electric cars. So I guess I would ask, given all those sectors, how would you pay for that? Then you go on to school choice. And I know that term can mean different things to different people, but in the most traditional, I think, school choice type of definition that would include vouchers, that's an expensive policy proposal. So all that to say, my question would be, how are you going to pay for these things while you want to reduce taxes?
Well, we are reducing taxes, and I think what has been proven is you can reduce taxes and still grow revenues. Okay, I'm a big believer in that when we have a lower tax rate structure, the economy is going to grow. I think that has been proven out. I know it's been proven out. Every time we've cut taxes when I was in the legislature, everybody would say the sky is going to fall. But no, our revenues continue to go up. So we got to keep that going. Find efficiencies in government. There's a lot of waste in the government. There's a lot of duplicative services and agencies and things like this. I think we need to have a very thoughtful consideration of that as we look to the future, how we're going to do more with less. And then from those savings, focus our efforts on these types of infrastructure, on the types of school choice. It doesn't have to be vouchers. There's a lot of different ways that we can tackle that without creating problems for local school districts that are doing well, that are doing successful. I'm a graduate from Brandon High School, Rankin County School District, one of the best in the country and the nation. I mean, A-rated schools in the nation, actually, by the U.S. Department of Education. There's a way to do this, though, without sacrificing those school districts' success and their independence. We can do this in a way that it does give people who are stuck in a F-rated school district to have the option to go somewhere else. I just attended the groundbreaking of a totally private Montessori school in Ellisville, Mississippi. It's called Knox School, Knox. It's Knox Academy, I think it is. And it's a school specifically for children with autism. And it was started by a mom who said, our school district is not doing what our children need for their son. And so they got together with a group of other parents, and they decided to form their own school, and now they're starting classes this fall. So that's a community-based school that I think meets a need that is, for whatever reason, is not being met by the public school system in that particular area. That's the type of thing we have to think about looking forward. That same freedom should apply, though, to not only children with autism, but children who are trapped in a failing school district that need a better education and just don't have the option to get it anywhere else. So there's a lot of refinement of those details that we have to work through, and that's going to involve a legislative discussion and a legislative parsing, if you will, of the different aspects of that. I think there'll be a lot of discussion of it this coming session in 2026. It'll be interesting to watch and to listen how that plays out. But the bottom line is we're going to have a smaller government. We're going to have to let our agencies do more with less. And allow them, not only allow them, but to require them to do more with less as we make government more efficient, and then focus our growth in revenues toward these infrastructure items and the other items that I mentioned.
Commissioner, as we mentioned, you're the first candidate to officially say I am running. However, we have some very likely candidates, including a couple and have worked with for quite a few years. A lot of people have already handicapped that you and State Auditor Shad White, maybe y'all's bases are similar. You may be going after the same votes. I'm just curious of the candidates we know are likely. Auditor White, a lot of talk about potentially billionaire businessman Tommy Duff. Lieutenant Governor Hoseman has at least expressed interest. How handicap the race a little bit for us? What's going to put you ahead of those folks?
Well, first of all, I'm not ever going to say anything bad about anybody else that's running in this race. That's not in my nature to do that, so I'm not going to sit here and throw rocks and critique any of those folks. I know them all. they're all, I'm on friendly terms with each one of them, I believe. I think the difference is that in my situation, I do have a 20-year track record of being a proven conservative leader. And that is what I believe the people of Mississippi are looking for, someone who not just talks the talk, but has walked the walk. And I think that my base is going to be, I know my base is going to be the conservative voters of the state of Mississippi. I mean, you're thinking about Republican primary. I've been in a Republican primary. I understand the voters of the Republican Party. I am a Republican and have carried the mantle on a lot of key issues over the years in that world at the legislature, in making policy, and as agriculture commissioner. So I think, my base is going to be the conservative voters of the state. I think that my base is going to be the folks who have asked me to run, who want a different type, not your typical politician, a different type of leadership for this state. And as we look to the future, I believe I'm the candidate that stands out as that individual. Humbly, respectfully, I am the proven conservative leader that I believe the people of Mississippi want. And I woke up, the other day, and I looked at the year ahead and planning ahead, and I'll be 50 years old. I'll be 50 years old in just a year or two. And it's like the Lord told me, you either put up or shut up. You do it or not. You're either going to do it now or not. My time is ticking, and I want to make a positive difference. I want to make a positive difference for the future of this state, for everybody in this state, okay? I hope that I have a reputation. I want to have a reputation that I can work with everybody across the aisle. That doesn't mean we're going to agree. In fact, we will fundamentally disagree on key issues as we think about some of these policy efforts. But I believe that I have the skills and the heart to want to work with people. Everybody wants to have a safe community. Everybody, whether you're Republican or Democrat, whether you're white, whether you're black, whether you're Hispanic, everybody wants a safe community. And that's my heart for the safety of our families, of our children, of our next generation. Public safety is a big issue that we're going to have to tackle for the future of this state. That's something I think we can find common ground on. Lawless individuals need to be held to account, need to be held accountable. And I think that when we do that, we're going to find that there'll be folks who will support my candidacy that might not support some other candidates, because they know. Not only have I talked about it, I have done it. We've created an environment at the fairgrounds where it's safe for families to come and enjoy the state fair. We're going to be having a Great American State Fair this year by request of the president, the most patriotic state fair in the history of America. We're having a 50-state competition for that. I'll have more to say. But I think that that's what makes me different from a lot of candidates that are out there. Although I respect them all, they're all my friends. I'm running not against anybody. I'm running for this office to make a positive, good difference for the people of Mississippi for the long term.
Commissioner, I think I mentioned to you, and Katie, you pointed this out to me, some recent shift gears and maybe ask you an agriculture question or two. You pointed out most recent Bureau of Labor Statistics numbers.
Yeah.
Showed something interesting or wild on agriculture numbers. What?
Yeah, that was in the Bureau of Economic Analysis, which is out of the U.S. Department of Commerce, I believe. It was showing that the agriculture sector was, in the last quarter, the largest contributor to the increase in real GDP in Mississippi.
Yeah, that is tremendous. I got that study. Thank you.
Some huge number,
huge
though,
numbers.
Like 36% year over year. But that's not quite.
It's not reflective of the reality that farmers are facing right now. I'll tell you where that's coming from as best I can tell, and where we're headed for the future. So in 23 and in 24, we were battling record trade deficits in this country. that started back during COVID or just pre-COVID trade deficits. Now, in Mississippi, 1 out of every 3 acres of production is destined for international markets. So we've had a big reduction in that trade internationally. A big contributor to that is because China has made the decision to buy from other nations and to ally with other nations. Brazil has not only a double crop, they can 2.5 crop a year. So their production, as they cut down the rainforest, is just exploding in production. So that's hurt our soybean farmers a lot. So there were the economic challenges. It's less profitable now to grow a crop of soybeans. It's not profitable at all because of the high inflation that's going skyrocketing. It costs 3 times as much to raise a crop today than it did 4 or 5 years ago. With inputs, the Ukraine war, fertilizer being hampered, and then interest rates sky high. I mean, to buy a piece of equipment, you're paying an arm and a leg these days. All those factors have been a perfect tariffs. Well. Tariffs. And look, not only are we in a trade war, we've been in a trade war for a long time, and I think the president's effort is to win that trade war. But all that to say, there were economic disasters. There were also weather disasters that nobody could control in 23 and 24. And then Congress let the Farm Bill expire last October. So all of the programs that were out there that farmers could turn to survive were up in upheaval. So right before Christmas, I remember I was watching this every day. If you go back, you'll find it. I was watching it and commenting on it. They passed a disaster relief package, the Emergency Commodity Assistance Program, ECAP, back in Christmas. And then those funds, when the Trump administration went in office in January, those funds have been dispersed in the first quarter. So it's not as if farmers are making a windfall in growth.
They didn't see 36%.
That's helping them offset and survive from the losses that they've had the last 2 years. As we sit here today, the One Big Beautiful Bill, OBBB, has some little tiny pieces, but important pieces, structural pieces of the Farm Bill. But Congress is negotiating right now to put in place some of the other more needed pieces of the Farm Bill that farmers got to have. They got to know what the rules are when they put the seed in the ground. At the same time, these trade negotiations are going on in Washington. The president's negotiating. His trade people are negotiating new deals. I was told last week there are 18 new trade deals that are on the table that are going to be announced in the near term. They need to be announced and they need to get done before harvest because our farmers have put seed in the ground. I'm talking about row crop farmers. Our big products. Poultry is our number one product. Okay. They're not having these kind of pressures that they are having the inflation and interest rate pressures, but not the low price commodities that the row crop farmers are having. Soybeans, cotton, corn, those 3 row crop commodities, mostly in the Delta. And then beef. I mean, beef is sky high right now. The farmers can't grow enough beef. The demand is huge. It's a bright spot in agriculture right now. That might have something to do with the growth that you're seeing there in income, but that's about our 6th largest commodity. So the row crop farmers are the ones who are getting this ECAP assistance, and I think that's what's reflected in that.
So to recap, that huge increase in ag GDP is most likely largely federal funds coming in.
It is federal disaster funds that the farmers desperately needed to offset prior year losses. And frankly, it helped a lot of them to make the decision to keep farming. We can't allow our farmers to quit in this country. Agriculture is the number one industry in Mississippi. It's the number one industry in our state, has been and will be for a long time. It looks like forever. It's also the backbone of our rural communities, the small towns and businesses, feed stores, a big part of seed and feed and fertilizer, all that in our small towns and communities. And it's our number one employer. So we've been working lockstep with the Trump administration to get relief to our farmers in the form of these trade deals. I've been to Panama. I just got back from Canada. Our largest trading partner is Canada. Got back yesterday. And meeting with folks and, urging them to buy our products and get a deal done.
We also just announced a new increased tariff on.
That's right. The president announced that, and he's a hard negotiator. They were not given what he is expecting, but I think my sense is that the deal's going to get done, and it's going to be good. And I think that overall, as a country, people have come to the realization that the farmers have been the tip of the spear on this inflation, the interest rates, the tough economics that we've had for the last 4 years. And we're not going to get out of this overnight. It's going to take some time, but that's what you're seeing in those reports. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's more, there are disasters happening every day. I mean, there are disasters that were above and beyond the federal government's ability to respond last year in 24. They're happening again. We have immense rains in North Mississippi, crops that couldn't even be planted or that were planted and just flooded out. You see what happen in Texas and all over the country. So the weather's something that nobody can predict or control. And as we look to the future, I think Congress will be focusing on these programs as well.
Well, Commissioner, I know we've covered a lot of various ground here, but we probably have almost buried the lead, so to speak. The big news of the day. Obviously, you're announcing you're running for governor is big, but as of today, you have 2 musical albums dropping. Is that correct? Not one, but 2.
Not one, but 2. I intended to do one, and I enjoyed it so much I did 2. So I have it's live now, released today, July 11th, on all streaming platforms worldwide: Apple Music, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, wherever you get your music. I listened to it on my car this morning.
And what the names of these albums?
The first album is Songs of Faith. And it's what I started out to do. I wanted to do a gospel album, and it's more than just songs. It's some of my favorite songs, but also I give a verbal introduction and tell stories about these songs and what they mean to me. And I hope that it's meaningful to people out there. It's something I want to do for at least 10 years, but I've been busy. You can imagine. I'm a busy individual. I'd rather be busy than bored. But I took the time, 3 or 4 hours to come to the studio and to record my favorite songs, tell these stories. And with the help of the good folks at Blue Sky Studios, it is now available worldwide. That's Songs of Faith. The second album, I enjoyed it so much, I wanted to do one about family. So I picked out my favorite family songs. They're classic country is what they are. I like old country. I don't know what y'all, roots country, if you want to call it that.
So Hank Williams type of stuff.
Exactly.
Jelly Roll.
No. Okay. I'm not against Jelly Roll. Yeah, I like what he does. I like what he stands for in a lot of cases. But and I might do a Jelly Roll album one day. But for today, this is old country, what I listen to. And there's songs about family and stories of my family, my wife, Leslie, and our 4 children, and things that I hope that one day this will be meaningful to them. I told you before we started, all of my kids are rolling their eyes at me right now. Dad, why are you doing this? Ranging from 13 to 21 years old, my children, 2 boys, 2 girls, they're like, Dad, what are you doing? It's a little embarrassing for them, but one day it's going to mean something to them when I'm dead and gone.
Now, I'm wondering how much of this is gubernatorial candidacy strategy. Are we going to see Delbert Hoseman and Shad White trying to come out with an album just to compete?
Have a battle of the bands, or
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they can sing. I'm not going to try to. Maybe they can, but I honestly, the honest to goodness truth is, it's something I wanted to do for at least 10 years. And I woke up that day and I said, I'll be 50 years old. I'm either going to do this or not. It's the same principle as running for governor. Either going to do it or not. This is the time. It's prime time. I'm in the prime of my life. And my voice isn't going to get any better, I don't think, over the years. So I recorded these albums, and I hope that they're meaningful to people. They're intended to tell the story of my personal faith in the Lord Jesus Christ. And they're intended to tell some stories, some fun stories about my family and principles that I hope that our children will see in me when I'm dead and gone. But I'm grateful that I've had the privilege to do it. God gave me this voice. I didn't make it myself. He gave it to me. I want to use it for His glory. I am going to do another album, another project that's rolling around in my mind, probably, toward the end of this year. and I'll be announcing that later on. But, it's one of those things that I wanted to do. Now it's done. I checked that box, and we'll just see what the future holds. But I'm excited about it, and I hope I have had a lot of requests to come sing since I did this. I mean, everywhere I've been invited to speak, now they say, would you sing us a song?
Well, we need an outro. We need an outro for this podcast.
Well, why don't you go and play one of my favorite songs for the outro, Rockin' Years, Rockin' Chairs, Rockin' Babies, Rock-a-bye, Rock of Ages. My wife, Leslie, and I did that on our Gipson Family Favorites album. And so far on Apple Music, it's the #1 song. Okay. I'm not surprised because she sounds like a young Dolly Parton. But anyway, I went and bought myself a personal stand, a little, music playing deal with the speakers and all that, microphones, so I can travel. I throw it in the back of my pickup truck, and I'm good to go. Maybe I'll sing some at the Neshoba County Fair. Who knows?
Okay, that's coming up soon. And look, I'm sure this is the first of many conversations we'll be having with you on the gubernatorial front, and ask you to keep us posted on ag issues, as you mentioned.
Absolutely.
That's extremely important.
Well, let me go ahead and do one right now, because this was just announced in D.C. That USDA is rolling out another supplemental disaster assistance for farmers affected by the disasters from 24 and 23. So that's available now at USDA. Secretary Rollins just made that announcement, and I want to make sure the farmers out there know about it. Go to your local federal farm service agency for that. And we're going to keep on keeping on, and better days are coming. But we got to support our farmers now like never before,
Thanks for talking with us, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner. We will see you at Neshoba.
All right, see you there, July the 30th. God bless.